Welcome everyone to another episode of Wildlife Photo Chat video. Thanks so much for coming back to join us. We got a great show, lots of different topics here. So here's the rundown. Here's what's coming up. We got our weekly summary. So I had a quick morning with some warblers and some strong light. Not the best. Then I had a random stop. Oh, by the way, I'm back in the U.S. I had a random stop in Maine by this lake and amazing conditions, so I'm going to talk about that. And then let's see, Brad has been continuing working on his shorebirds. He had a surprise encounter, which you can see a little bit of a teaser there if you know your species. I can see that. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then just messing with some of his morning outings at a nearby lake. And then we're going to touch on this topic. Brad had this weird issue with Instagram and bot followers and how he kind of solved that, at least for now, it seems.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah, which is good. And then we got our topic today. Is there a good reason for high megapixel cameras? That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk all about it. We got a ton of photos to show you. We want to see if you can guess which ones came from low resolution. Guys, we have cameras going back from 2007 when they released all the way to current like modern cameras. Images, I think, starting at in like 2009 all the way till now. So a wide range of stuff. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be an interesting topic. There's a lot to talk about there. And are there any reasons for it? Are there any positives? What are the negatives? That kind of stuff. We got a little bit of photo news here. So we're going to talk about, which we teased on the last episode, this Sigma released this 200 millimeter f2. So we're going to see like if that kind of fits in. We got a fun little hypothetical thing that we're going to put in towards the end of the episode. So like a sort of what would you do if situations, and it's gear related. And then we're going to finish up with our choices for the Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge, which was, again, low-key. If you noticed and watched our last episode, we kind of made a mistake. We didn't realize we had chosen low-key on the previous episode, and so we chose it twice, which is fine. So we're going to pick another low-key image. So that's everything coming up in this episode. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So I think we'll get started talking about some of the stuff I've been up to, but yeah, man, it was, I got to say, Brad, it's weird being back in the U.S., man.
Oh, it's too bad. Sad to see you guys leave.
It really was
It's been
strange.
fun to have you around.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, for sure.
It was so fun being up there for 2 months. It really did start to feel like home. Like, that's the thing that was really interesting. Like, and not that we stayed in the exact same spot, but Newfoundland's got a feel. Like, Newfoundland's got a vibe to it, you know, and it's kind of the same everywhere you go. And yeah, it was just, it was like a weird, sad thing, like leaving the island, like getting on the ferry and doing all that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess for me, like, compared to like big city life and, you know, all the like the traffic and dealing with like the driving aspect that you guys do, like Newfoundland is more chill, more relaxed. Totally. Like there's a more low key and you know, people are super inviting and friendly and stuff. So yeah, I can see it's definitely a different environment.
Yeah,
for sure.
That was the biggest sort of noticing is just like we're back in the US and of course like we did have this wonderful little stop in this like random lake in Maine, but then now today I'm in the backyard of a really good friend of Emily's who she went to college with, and we're just visiting here for a few days, but and thankfully they got this beautiful spot just outside of Boston, so we got some property, but we're right near Boston, a major city. So like driving in and around is just like, oh my God, the traffic and like 4-lane highways again. And it's an adjustment, man. And it's so funny, you know, while we were still on the island at one point, Janelle, your wife, had messaged us and was just like stuck in traffic. And it was like this little bit of traffic going in at the same time. And we're like, do you think that's traffic? Like just the traffic, perspective is so funny there. And it was like she was stuck in it. It's not different. To demean that she wasn't dealing with traffic, but it's just like the scale, like the traffic and the craziness there is still nothing compared to some of these places here. And
oh gosh, no.
It's
definitely not.
But you know, there's still amazing, beautiful places to be had here. And I'm gonna get out tomorrow and do some mountain bike riding. There's some trails I can ride right out of their yard here and hit some trails, which that'll be fun. So
nice.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, it's also weird that like it feels like we're like back on the road again. And like I know we moved all over Newfoundland. Like we covered a lot in Newfoundland. But it never really felt like we were back on the road in the same way. It just, I don't know. It's still, it was like there was something different about it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
this was still back on Newfoundland, on the island. And dude, this one morning it was out by this place called Lark Harbor near Corner Brook, which we had went back to do a hike again. Which for anybody watching, if you're interested in watching like what we're doing with the van and hiking and stuff, check out Emily's channel. It's Emmy, Emmie, Emmy on the road. And I'll drop a link in the caption here. But she's putting a little bit more content out now about our van life stuff, and she's recording our hikes. So it's like this immersive perspective, GoPro perspective of some of these hikes. And so we went back to this area to do this hike again, which is one of our favorites on the island. And we woke up the next morning at this parking area, and dude, there were so many warblers, man, just everywhere. Like tons of diversity,
really?
like really pushing, just packed
pushing
with
through.
birds. But of course, it was a lazy morning. By the time I got up, the sun was like blazing. So, I had these black-throated green in full sun, and
it's still nice.
Yeah, it's all right? But it's like, it'd be
for
nicer
a
with
tight
good
portrait.
light.
Oh, well, yeah.
This one was cool with him getting some prey, let me bring up some settings here. And then just finally got a little bit of cloudy light. So nothing too special, but it was just kind of cool to like pop out and see that. So that was fun. And then the next thing, so we drive into the U.S., and we stop by this lake in Maine. And dude, it's so funny. You'll see in this video I'm going to show behind the scenes next. Like, this view looks incredible, right? Yeah, you should see where we were. All right, so here we go. Let me get this video playing. Let's see if it plays here. It was just kind of funny, like, actually where we were, you can see it's just like, I don't know why the videos are playing choppy now, but it was just like right near an intersection. Like, it was like all these stores and stuff on the one side,
It's not always pretty.
Yeah, like this was like the view out the one way, and then this was the view out the other way,
And do you find like situations like that, if you do end up finding yourself in those, that you, even though there's everything going on behind you, once like a great, incredible scene like that is in front of you, you kind of just like get lost in it? You almost forget that everything's going on behind?
Other than the sounds, yeah. Like if you hear all of a sudden like a large truck or some really loud traffic hits, then that kind of snaps you out of it. But absolutely. Yeah. And it's also just recognizing like there's beauty everywhere. Like you don't need to have like these amazing remote places. I mean, listen, if I can spend time there, I will. And I'm sure everybody watching would say the same. Like if you can get to these remote, amazing places, sure. That's always like a more immersive, just isolated feeling. It's wonderful. But, for everybody that's like stuck in your neighborhood and it's just like the local pond and everything, man, if the weather hits just right and the conditions are right, like it doesn't, like who cares? It doesn't matter.
Advantage.
These ducks were all acclimated. There were signs all over, don't feed the ducks. So people are obviously doing that all the time, right? And it's just like, who cares? They were just like the quote unquote backyard ducks. But like, I'll show you in a second. The photos we got were insane, like we just got just amazing stuff,
Oh,
yeah.
My kind of morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
So this was, again, the beauty of van life, right? We woke up and, dude, we are on a sunrise schedule now. We've just been getting up so much. Like, we're not setting an alarm. We'll sleep in 5 a.m. We're just, like, up looking around. Like, I guess we're
ready to go.
Up.
Wow. Yep. Wow.
So,
that's cool.
Anyway, it was nice. I looked out at one point. I just popped the window. I'm like, oh, damn. Like, look at that out there. I'm like, I got to get dressed and get out there. And so... I grabbed the Z6 III. It had the 28-4 on it. I was like, you know what? That'll be perfect. It's wide open space. I can play with zoom. You know what I mean? Yep. So I shot a few of these on the 28-4, which let me zoom like that and do some stuff like this. And I love this scene in particular, like this tree line out there.
Love the layers.
Right? And like even back in here was absolutely killer, The fog was hanging just right there, that sort of, steam on the water from the cooler temps. And it just, I had so much fun.
Real nice.
Shooting with that lens and camera setup. It's super lightweight. I was able to climb down some rocks and get really close. And so, I just played around with that a bunch.
Really nice.
And this was kind of cool. Like, that looks kind of...
Up on, what's he on? Like a rock or something?
Right?
Or what is it?
It looks like that, doesn't it? No. It's just a dock that had a sloped edge on it on the one side. The other side... was
really?
Like perfectly vertical, but this side for whatever reason had like a slope to it. I think it's to like drive I think it's to paddle a kayak into. Like it's one of those ones that like cradles it, and so it had like sloped edges that kind of float down in. And in a silhouette, I was like, this looks like a rock just kind of like going down in the water.
It does.
Yeah, so I was all over it.
You would never know.
Totally.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So that was really,
because even the top isn't, you know, all like kind of like bumpy-ish.
Exactly.
Or kind of has like almost like a textury feel.
yeah, it's
or
probably
something.
all bird shit.
It
probably is, because they were all over it. You know.
Yeah. I bet.
But that sky was dramatic, man.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah. It had all kinds of
Real
drama.
nice.
So it was really fun.
Yeah.
And then I realized I wanted to start playing with, I saw this guy on the dock thing starting to preen and stuff. And I was like, and the steam blowing by. I was like, you know what? Let me get a tight video. So I run back in, get the D4S with the 400-2.8 on it, because that can do the crop video plus the teleconverter. And so I was like, let me start getting close. And I did get some video clips. But it also let me start shooting like entirely across the lake, you know, like with this kind of stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I mean, this duck, it is not tack sharp because he was just through all the stuff. So like if you,
it's a dot. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like,
like who cares,
one
right?
pixel.
Like there, you can see zoomed in, right? He's not that
Yeah.
soft, but in this size, it's totally fine. And it's not like it was a focus thing, right? It's just you're shooting through that much fog. It's never going to be sharp, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I love these kinds of shots.
Yeah, it's really pretty scene.
We had some swimming in really close, cool trees in the background, just nice stuff. So
I love that.
Shot the 400-2.8 for a while.
That's pretty. That's moody.
Some moody stuff. Yeah, the light just kept changing because of that moving around fog layer. And then I got tired of holding that big dumb setup over the edge of the water, and so I went and switched out for the 1-4, and then came back and then finished off with like a round of this kind of stuff, a little bit wider. So, yeah.
Wow. So that fog that lasted a good while.
It did, dude. It didn't change for quite some time, man. It was pretty amazing. Yeah. And like all in, like, I don't know, 15, maybe a half hour out there playing around, like the diversity of looks and everything I got. And this stuff I love, dude. Like we just wake up and we're like, oh, that looks awesome.
Roll out.
Let's grab a camera and go get it. Like,
let's take advantage of
idea. It was not planned. We didn't even know what it was going to look like there. Like the app we used to find a place to stay, there was a couple of people that said, nice view of the lake, you know, like that's it. But we didn't know anything about it. And then to have those conditions when you wake up was like, man, we're so lucky.
Unreal.
We're so lucky.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, definitely.
Like I would, I would kill for shots like this when I lived in New Jersey, to have like a lake with the layers and the space and these conditions and everything. And like, you know, I don't know that it ever happened, or maybe a couple of times ever. And then we just get to stumble into it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy stuff.
Real cool. And what's great too is like, you know, you guys aren't obviously going to give up this whole traveling thing for quite some time. So it's always nice when you've come across like a location like that you can almost like bookmark and be like, we're back in the area. We know that like if we're nearby, let's pop in and you know what I mean? Take advantage or go back and revisit an idea or a shot that maybe didn't work out before.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it looks like you had a killer morning. That's my kind of morning. Like that environment, those settings, just it's so peaceful to me. Like, you know, again, I know like there's whatever crap going on behind you, but I think you can still, when it's so serene and beautiful like that, you just get lost in it.
Yeah, and then I was telling you, this was kind of like a little side topic I wanted to talk about on this. Yep, you know, a shot like this, I was just like, I mean, it's beautiful, but I'm like, I'm bored of this, like because I have so many now. You know, I have so many with loons and other ducks and waterfowl, and so I was like, why am I feeling bored about this? And I think it's just because like I'm leaning more towards, I want like something else in there, right? Like I want like another dominant layer or a different, like even this is just that softer feel to it that just feels different. I think I just feel like I've seen this exact lighting just so many times, not just from me, but from other photographers and everything. And it's just, I'm not going to not take it. I'm still going to take that shot. But it was like when they started swimming into other areas and then giving options like this kind of stuff, or, you know, I think you had said you really like this one. This was definitely like a favorite of mine, like that. Yeah. Or this, I love that. Even, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like then real nice. That fog layer just feels different there to me. And there's just like, I don't know, it's just something about not not sameness, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like to go back to that first shot that you were saying, like, you know, more bored. I think for me, because you see a good bit of that tree line
That
above,
helps.
I still really like it. Like if that was like if you did like a 16:9
Yeah.
crop and cropped out the top of those trees and it was just like the dark background, the fog, like that shot to me, like yeah, seen it, we've all done it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that kind of gets boring. But I think for me still, because of that bit of tree line texture in the background, like I still, to me it really appeals to me. I still really like, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, those other ones, like there's just a more sense of space and just, you know, that environment again and seeing more, and you're still getting that cool effect from the fog, but there's just more context to the whole image.
You know what? You just helped me realize like part of it too. If this was like a spruce bog and had like layers of spruce trees like going back, or like multiple layers of like another hill back there, I would love it, right?
Yeah.
Change nothing about the
definitely.
composition, but give me like another layer
Yep,
back
I know what
there
you're
for
saying.
depth. That is in like more intriguing to me. And I think so much of this is just with everything, right? It's like the evolution of what you do. And that's kind of like where I'm at with it now. It's like, all right, yeah, I've done this a bunch of times, that sort of subject and one other layer in the background. And now when I get these conditions, I'm like, I'm spoiled, right? That I'm getting to be that picky of like, oh, I want extra layers and stuff like that. And thankfully it was provided, right? And like sometimes those extra layers to me can be like this, just like the extra layer of clouds up there. And like that to me is more interesting than that, you know? Because it just has like more, there's like more other things to like enjoy and look at beyond just the subject, which I guess is also just where my taste is going with, you know, bird and wildlife photography. So,
and I guess the thing is too, like it's so great to have that thought process, because then when you enter into a scene or you're, you know, going out to photograph a particular area, you kind of like, oh, I love the layering here on this lake, or I love this little extra something, whether it be like one of those little islands that are out on a lake that you think you can include, or, you know, different contexts where if you just walked out to a pond, it was just like, oh, distant, like one layer of tree line, you're like, okay, maybe it's not going to give me the feel I want. So yeah, it's always good to have, to be nitpicky, I guess.
Totally. And that we are.
Right?
That we are.
Yeah,
and again, if that was the only shot I got, I'd still really like it. It's not like I'm trying to say, you know, oh, these shots are stupid, or I should never take them. It's just like I'm looking through and editing. I'm like, why am I not getting a better feeling about this? Because I can think back, you know, 10 years ago, if I had shot something like that, I'd be like over the top about it, you know? And now it's just not happening anymore because, you know, I've done it a bunch. So anyway, good times, man. Yeah, we're here in Boston now, and I think it was kind of the case for both of us this week. We had said earlier, we're like, we're probably not going to have much to talk about photo-wise, and then and then great things happen.
Crazy,
you know?
Yeah. I honestly didn't think, because I mean, it's this time of year, right? Back to school, everybody's getting ready. You're getting your kid, you know. We're doing that whole thing. So I just figured life would be like super hectic and whatnot, but luckily I've been able to get out a few mornings, few evenings. This particular morning was just like, so I was just going back to the lake. I haven't had like a really good like greater Yellow Lake outing yet, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I mean, like I said, dude, like this sky was just incredible. So as I walked out to the lake, like this is what was kind of like popping out to me. But as I was walking out, just to set up the other thing, so there's a short little trail from where I park goes out. There's like a tree line, so like you can kind of peek through and you can see, you know, some of the ducks out on the pond and such. So as I'm heading out of that little tree line out to the opening, I did see this one particular shorebird. It kind of like tucked down. I was like, oh, I'm like, the way it kind of flattened itself, I'm like, I bet you that's a Wilson snipe. So as it kind of edged in a little bit closer, I was like, oh, it is. I'm like, I'm like, can I get out? I mean, he's way in the open. Anyways, this little dude flutters, flies out. The water level was higher than it's been for a while. So there was no like center rocky. Like there's usually like this little bit of a rocky area just off from where I kind of lay down. And a lot of shorebirds and like the ducks will come up in that area. So I usually just like lay down, post up, and wait as things kind of come in and out. So this little guy floats over there. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's over there. It's not a great shot. It's little tall grasses. just a little bit taller than him. So like he's hidden in that. I'm like, whatever. So I lay down and the ducks were flying in through these gorgeous colors. So I'm like shooting them, but I'm like, if I stay completely still, kind of lid down, just totally wait, there's a good chance that these guys, like this one might actually come up back over to where I was. Because a few years back, I did have a chance encounter where 2 actually flew over and came like super close to me.
Yeah.
They're obviously a family, so it's juvies. So, I'm waiting it out. There wasn't much else happening. There was no greater yellow legs, which was super weird. Like, I don't know if it was just the water level was too high or they had found another food source somewhere else. So I'm like, you know what? This is the only thing. Let's just lock in. Don't go moving around too much and just wait. Sure enough, dude, like fast forward like 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes maybe. 2 of them fly over.
No kidding.
Land around this little point. So if you show that kind of little shot I did with the phone, so that middle like little section of like turf, like dirt there, they were tucked in around that, kind of where that log
this right
is
here.
to. Yeah, just around that. So they flew tucked in there, and I'm like, what do I do kind of thing, like move up a little bit. So it was this whole like cat and mouse game of like, I'll move a little bit and then they'd feed and I'll move a little bit more because I'm already half in the water.
Yeah.
So I have my chest waders on. I always do at this location just in case I want to get in. And so I'm like halfway in the water and half like leaning around. So this is what I end up doing for the next half an hour or so, playing with them. So they would like inch their way a little bit closer and do in the back of my mind. I'm like, so the 2 sat in that area. They were there for quite some time. Then I think without me realizing it, 2 more fly in.
Wow.
And at that point, I was, one of them kind of jumped out of that area and I thought he flew back across. But when I looked, he was up on this log, kind of like this stump going across in the open.
Really?
He jumped out on the open. I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I had the 100, 400. So I do have a shot that I kind of quickly did at like, I don't know, it was close. No, go back to the other one prior to that.
Oh.
That one, just to kind of grab shot. And I was like, you know what? Feels a bit choppy, messy. I don't like the uncleanliness of the back. So I'm like, right away zoomed in. So the dude at one point, 3 of them got up onto this log. Yeah, so I actually had 3 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Up there. They even interacted a little bit. I haven't had a chance to go through all the different shots.
They're like the most secretive birds, and you got 3 out on an open log. Crazy.
3 completely out. I was like, what is going on? Again, good chance these are juvies.
Yeah.
Like, I think there might have been 1 adult in the mix that was a little bit more kind of on edge. But yeah, so the light was just enough that was just right, that I was getting some real nice, that rim light on it and get that nice glow. And so as the other 3 were on the log, all of a sudden I noticed like this movement just down below. So I kind of looked back. I'm like, oh, this guy came around that little tough stuff.
Yeah.
So I grabbed a quick shot. But then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the whole place went up.
No kidding.
Snipes went, ducks went up in the air. There's like a goshawk around or like other hawks. So I think something just kind of like flew in or flew by and just kind of freaked them a little bit. So yeah, the 4 of them went over into like the cattail grasses, and I was like, yeah, they're done. I'm done. There was nothing else. Everything kind of like had moved out. But yeah, it was just such a fun little like, and I will say, I love like that tighter shot, the one on the log. The other ones, dude, in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm crushing like these other shots, but it almost feels like the snipe gets a little bit lost in that other scene, like the ones
like these
where they're like I don't like that the log was getting like really lit
the
up
reflection
there,
on
like,
the top
so
of it.
Highlight.
Yeah,
I tried toning it down a bit, and I'm like, but in my head, in the moment, I'm like, this is so good.
If it wasn't for that log, dude,
I
think it works.
Yeah.
I think it works flawlessly,
100%.
especially this one. Like, I mean, this one, as well, but this one, like the flare with where it's at, like the layout, like everything works. It's that stupid log, It is. And it's the kind of thing that like, there's nothing you can do. You can't move up. You can't move down. You're stuck.
And I think it's one of these things too, like in the moment, it's one of these things that your brain just completely, like I'm looking at the log and it's like a dark black, like it's just like, I'm like, oh, this is going to be nothing. It's going to fade away. And then, but then you forget the sun is kissing off the top of it and it's still wet looking like,
and it's still, listen, it's not bad. And again, if this is the only shot you had, still totally works. You could share, people would enjoy it, right? But it's not, it's like, that's,
just ruins it.
Yeah, it does, man. Like, and I know there's probably people that are like, yeah, who cares? But like, and that's fine, right? That's a fine opinion to have.
Yeah.
But I do think like there's a reason that Brad's photos are at a level they are all the time with what you see online, right? It's because like he cares about that, and I do too, right? Like that stuff matters, you know what I mean? And like even this shot right here, you know, I know you just took it just to show where he was, like, but even if he was profiled and looking at you perfectly, it doesn't work. Like it's just
it doesn't.
There's a nice slope there, but it's that opposite shoreline, absolutely killing it, and the ripply water on the other side of the log. The foreground ripply water, totally fine, but the ripply water back here,
perfect.
Like not good.
Just ruins it.
Yeah.
No.
If it was
that was my as soon as I looked at it,
you're good to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I would have shot that all day. I would have even went out to like 100.
Yeah.
I really would have included more of the sky up above, and I would have played around with it more. But yeah, I was just like, as soon as I looked, I'm like, nope. And then so when I zoomed in at 400, I could see that. I'm like, okay, I'm just getting a little bit of ripple. Now I'm still getting the dark. I'm like, this is perfect.
And it's more out of focus. So it works better there. Yep. There's less of it. It just doesn't have the same presence that it does in a shot like this, you know? Because I think it's because of the scale of everything too, right? Like the bird's bigger here. That ripply stuff just is an accent now. But here, like I think as a viewer, you're supposed to be able to appreciate all the stuff that's being visible there. And it's not that pretty, you know what I mean? So it's fascinating how that stuff works, and it shows really how hard some of that smaller in frame stuff is, but also how great that lens is because you can just do this.
Exactly. And that's what I love about it. Like it was so nice to have it on hand to be able to just like those fine tuning, you know, adjustments that you can make, or like I said, totally zoom in, get a tight portrait. I've always wanted, I see so many people with shots of snipe on a log or a stick, and I'm like, I've never had, and I'm like, oh, finally, I'm like, I can add that one into the portfolio.
Check that off.
So.
Now you need it on like the floating sort of like mossy kind of thing, little tuft of island that I've seen.
Yeah,
people have them on.
Yeah.
So never ending.
Yeah, but no, it was fun. It was a fun little outing.
Oh, absolutely, man.
You know, I've continued. I'm been going out most evenings, every chance I get. At least the sunrise is nice. So I've been really playing around with this whole Ruddy turnstone project.
These are all so beautiful, man.
While they're still, it was the conditions on that evening were so nice, and it was one of those evenings, dude, like where the weather dictated what lens I was going to use. Because in my mindset, I've been really wanting to use the 100 to 400 in this location. Really play around with it because it was, you know, it's been the recent purchase. I didn't have it last year.
Yeah.
And just give me the flexibility to like getting different compositions. On that evening, I'm like, clear skies. There's nothing else to show here. Yeah. Let's just go full portrait.
Yeah.
So I had a group of them. This one beautiful looking adult, like he just stuck around. Looking. And I'm like, I'm focused. Yeah, there was a bunch of juvies around. I took a couple shots, but I'm like, nah, this guy was super chill. Like where he just stayed right in front of me. So I just spent the evening. I just love like when the light hits all that seaweed and creates, that's just seaweed getting lit up in the background. So it worked out really well there. And then when he was like fully like in amongst, it was so cool to just be watching him like digging into the seaweed and pushing it around. And yeah, but then, you know, to get the foreground. Dude, I thought about it at one point, I'm like, I should just take a pile of seaweed with me.
Set it.
And just like lay it every time I sit, like, because you start realizing like how beautiful it is. Once you like really tuck yourself into it, it just glows when that light hits.
Well,
so yeah, that little peak.
As long as you have a clean enough background. If you have too much of it back there, then it turns into a disaster really as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what I'm actually using there is there's like a couple huge rocks, like car-sized boulders that are off a little bit further in the back. So every chance I got, this is what I was doing, line them up. Like if I moved, you know, a little bit right or left here, then you were starting to see the ocean, whatever. So a lot of these are because I was tucked in using that rock as a background.
Hey,
So,
viewers,
they
you
were
got a favorite?
Super fun.
What's your favorite? 1, 2, 3, or 4? How about you, Brad?
To me, it's like a toss-up between top right
And bottom left.
and yeah.
I know it. I know it. I wanted to try and guess it. Yeah, for me, it's the bottom left one. Yeah, I just love that. Like, I love the color that's happening there. I mean, that top right one, the second image there is crisp, man. Like that thing is just
fun.
like that shows off the bird more. I would say like that's an amazing portrait of the bird, right? Just shows off the plumage and everything. This just has a feel to it, you know? Like
it's just something.
Yeah. Lens flare
Their
is
type
like
of environment.
It's a good thing when it's used just right like this. Yeah. And you like you absolutely nailed it. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
And then so again, been just like I said, headed out, tried this that evening. The clouds just looked like everything was lining up, and I'm like, I knew all these thin clouds are moving in. I'm like, this is gonna be perfect. And dude, literally, I left, and it was like I might have been about 45 minutes or so before sunset. Like I waited till like the last, And when I got out there, I could tell water levels were higher. There was one turnstone around, but super like just on edge because it didn't really have many places to kind of hang out.
Gotcha.
So dude, like this is like one of the hardest outings I've ever worked. Like it's insane. So I wish I could like put it in perspective. So it's like boulder, like, you know, decent size, at least as big as my head, if not bigger. Everywhere I'm walking, that's what I'm walking on, and I'm waist high in water. So as I'm walking out into this, there's nothing for me to hold on to. I can't really see my footing all that well. So every time you put your foot, it's rounded rocks. So it's like your foot slides. So it's like, okay, that next step I got to make sure is stable. The next step's got to be stable. So it's like and then I'm chasing the sun, and I'm chasing like how the birds are lined up. So I'm like, by the time I get it, I mean, a couple times I'm like cradling a rock with my legs to try to hold on. Like I'm almost like riding on top of that.
Nice
and then I'm like, the turn moves just a little bit over to another rock. I'm like, oh shit, go over that. I mean, there's a couple times, dude, I made a step and I'm like, oh crap. I'm in. Like, I know I'm going in. Oh, yeah. And it just so happened that my other foot, I pushed out and landed in a perfect spot and caught. So a few times, like, I'd wedge my foot into, like, a couple rocks. I'm like, okay, that's wedged in. So if I go to fall, like, I can kind of, like, use that as, like, a way to balance myself. But, it was just a really fun outing. These common terns just kept landing. They'd go out and they'd fish. So it was like a mixture of, like, the adults and they're young. So every time like a couple of their young would come and land in front of me on the rocks, then all the adults would come in. So at the time I had like, 15 or 20. And I just played around with all kinds of compositions, trying to include some different of the rock formations, or just focusing in on that like incredible light that was happening.
Yeah, clouds are killer in that one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Well, it was nice you didn't have the 500 dragging around. That would have been
yeah, right?
Even tougher,
would
right?
Have been, yeah. Oh, yeah. I did it once before with the 500. Yeah, it's too hard to balance. It just seems too... Like, I think if I go to fall, because it's not, like, over my head kind of water, I could fall, catch myself with one hand, and put the lens and everything up comfortably. Like, it's my thought process anyways. But, I love this one with just the hint of that other bird flying in the background.
Cool. Yeah, no, they're all great, man. Yeah, the color is good. We need to start like a fundraiser to get you a dry suit, man, because it's so different when you're in one of them, because it like has buoyancy to it, so you can actually like sit down to your shoulder level and like kind of hover along there, and then just stand up when you need to. It's just like what a different feeling of sort of safety for you and your gear out there when you have one of those, and that's separate from like the whole underwater housing, you know what I mean? But like even just carrying the camera loose. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. No, I just wonder how like, and I guess they are. I'm like, these chest waders I use, they're to me they're fairly durable because like the stuff I'm climbing over and scraping across, like these rocks like are all full of those like white like barnacle kind of things. I can hear the check, and I'm like, I just feel like I get a wetsuit, like I'm just gonna destroy it in no time. That's what it feels like. I don't know. Maybe they're really durable as well. And
I don't know.
You know,
I mean,
I get like 5 mil neoprene. Like my stuff is thick because I mean we don't get. You know, like I'm using it sometimes during the spring, summer, but like usually my chest waders stuff, it's cold.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to last standing in this water even now, like for very long.
Sure.
Like
Yeah,
it'd be a
I
short
gotcha.
period and I'd have to get out.
Yeah, well, all the ones I've used are really thin, and so it's just a matter
Yeah.
of you insulate underneath. You just wear like insulated pants, and that provides the insulation for you, which is usually
I
actually
do that.
like a little bit better than the neoprene anyway, like on its own, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
true.
But yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't think they're that durable, but it might be the kind of thing of like, well, if you don't have to put as much of your weight and everything on the rocks in the water and stuff, because you can kind of just bob along and float your weight and just kind of move along, like you don't necessarily need to rely on the traction and friction and being against those rocks if you can just like move your feet along the ground. You know what I mean? Like that's what I just in my experience, you like approach differently when you're in the water with it than you would if you were trying to stay dry, kind of thing. You know. So
I hear you. I'll get one. I will get one eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it might be also the kind of thing where it's just like sometimes you're using, you know, a certain thing. Like having both might be the key.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, looks like we both had a good week though. That's for sure.
We had some good light. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Some really nice light.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so let's talk about that Sigma lens that was released.
Yeah,
I kind of was going to do that earlier and kind of forgot, but yeah, I
think.
think
Did you pre-order it?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I don't think it really has a fit in my lineup. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a 200 millimeter f2 for anybody interested. And I do want to say, like, Sigma's is out now, and then actually, you know what? I got a link right here. Let me open that up and just so everybody can like see what we're talking about here, right? So this is the lens. This is a fat little chunky boy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yep. I wonder how heavy it is.
Well, there's probably
a lot of
specs
this
somewhere.
stuff is lightweight now,
I
anyways.
know. I think it's probably not
a lot
too
of
bad.
this is lightweight.
But maybe we can find that somewhere as we scroll here. And so Sigma's is out. Venus Optics, who makes the Laowa lenses, they are rumored to be releasing one soon as well. I assume it'll be an autofocus one, so that's going to be another interesting one. Like there might be some competition in that space. But this is the first one of these that exists for, you know, dedicated for mirrorless lenses or for mirrorless cameras. Here we go. Here's some specs. So let's see. Weight. You know, like, 180 grams or 1,800 grams. So 63 ounces. I don't know what that translates to. Let's see. 1,800 grams. Oops. Grams. Yeah, 63.49. All right. So 63 ounces. Is that? There you go. 1.7 kilograms. I just keep getting measurements that mean nothing to me.
Right.
You know, and then
one
there you go. Just shy of 4 pounds. So there, we finally got there.
Okay.
So yeah,
not
like
too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
I mean, it makes sense. It's an f2, so
it's a big,
it's going to be a
lens,
bit chunky.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, I don't know if there's photos of it in anybody's hands anywhere, but yeah, it doesn't look like it. Anyway, I mean, listen, that's a great focal length. Like, I love the 70 to 200 2.8. You know,
I do.
So
then
200 f2 is like that's gonna be a great look.
Is going to be a great look, but then comes the question, like, there's a lot of great 2.8 lenses out there to 70 to 200, so then you got the versatility.
Yeah. Well, it's just like
especially for wildlife.
Just like the 100 to 400 versus the 400 2.8, you know? Like, I think it's the same exact thing there, right? It's like, if you're a portrait shooter, I think it's really good. I just don't know that it fits that great in a wildlife lineup, because if you're a portrait shooter, more focal length is just going to make that easier for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this feels like, to me, if you're going to get into that 200 range, you're starting to be more interested in small and frame, more habitat stuff. In which case, 200 f2 is probably really going to obliterate that background a lot of the times. And so there's already 135 f1.8s that probably have roughly the same sort of feel to them. but then you do get 200 millimeter out of it. So like, I don't know. It's, if you didn't have one or the other, I think either one would probably be great. A 135 1.8 or a 200 f2 would probably have roughly the same amount, like same look, like same feeling out of a photo. So I would say you pick one up, but I feel like you're going to get 135 millimeters much cheaper than what this thing. I don't even know what the price is on this one. Actually, I don't know if they. Yeah, I forgot to look that up. So
no,
I don't know if that's right there. Let's see, Sigma 200 millimeter f2. I mean, this, I've seen this in there. It looks like 3200 US. So not that bad, but definitely more expensive than a 135. You know. Yeah. But
I just think for me, like if I'm going to go into that, like, you know, if I was thinking if I had a 500 or 600, I was thinking about going, you know, down a little bit lower, more into the mid-range kind of stuff. I'd want versatility with that decision. You know what I mean? Like I'd want either the 100 to 400 or, you know, or the 70 to 200. I'd want something with it to not just only be locked in at 200, I think,
except
for me personally.
you've shot and you've seen what Emily's done with that 135.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's got to look.
Yeah, you're right. It does have a look.
It's got to look, right? So that's the thing. I think like that's...
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I guess that's my point, though, only because we know that, and we haven't. Like, I'm just saying, if this is someone that is now wanting to dabble into that mid-range stuff or that more showing the scene, to lock yourself into that one focal length, I don't know. Now that we've got all the different focal lengths, I think that's where we're getting that little nitpicky of like, yeah, well, something in around that because it's f2 is going to look super nice. It's going to give you a unique look, but
you know what also is interesting, right? Teleconvert this with a 1.4, you're at a 280 f2.8. So you're basically, you also have a 300 2.8 in this with a teleconverter, right? Because from f2 to 2.8 is one stop. So that's kind of fascinating as well. So that's like interesting because the 300 2.8 is a really sweet, I mean, Sony's, everybody loves that 300 2.8, you know? I mean, you 2x this thing, you're what, a 400 2.8 f4? 400 f4 with a 2x telly. That's an interesting focal length.
5.6?
Huh?
No, it wouldn't be 5.
No, because f2 to 2.8 is a stop, and then 2.8 to 4 is another stop. So
true. Yeah.
So that's another interesting, like a small portable.
Yeah, that's an option.
400 f4 is kind of interesting. So, like, it does have versatility because of it being such a fast lens.
Yeah.
But, you know, teleconverters are, you know, they're mildly a pain. It's not something you want to drag them around all the time. But I still don't think it's a lens. I don't personally have a desire for it because it doesn't, I don't think it differentiates itself enough between the 135 1.8 that we have and the 70 to 200 2.8 and a 400 2.8. Like we have enough to do what this thing is doing. But if I didn't have any of those, I don't know, it could be a contender, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah. I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
Let us know in the comments. Like, is anybody else interested in this, or has anybody actually bought it and had any experience with it? Because I do think.
I'd love to know.
Gave away a little teaser there. I do think it's got potential for wildlife. I don't think it's going to be a big popular wildlife lens. I think it is more.
No,
like
I don't
it's a
think
great
so.
fit for sports and portraits. Actually, are really cool with it. But All right, so 43 minutes in. Let's do our fun hypothetical. Brad came up with this idea. I think it's great. We'll try and sprinkle some of these in.
Just be
sporadically.
fun.
So, viewers, let us know. We want to hear your thoughts on this too. So,
Definitely.
Do you want to share the hypothetical, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I think it was just fun. Came to me the other day. I was just like, you know, if you could only do one thing or another, or you're stuck in a specific shooting style or shooting situation or whatever. So I think we'll just come up with some here and there. So I think the one I threw out first was like, would you be rather stuck at like 10 mil or 800? So you got kind of like two extremes, right? Super telephoto kind of situation going on, or you're 10 mil. That's it. You can't shoot anything else. This is what you're stuck with forever. This is the only thing you can take in your bag when you go out.
That's a hard one, dude. You would think it would be easy for me to answer it. Because it is not.
Well, and this is the thing, because I think many of us would have like a thought quickly. But then if you start breaking it down, you're like, there's action scenarios, there's this, it's not every species that, whatever, like there's so many different things, like and you think, like for me, I'm like, oh, I think the telephoto, I want to go something lens, I love the portrait kind of stuff, but then I'm like, well, I'm never, or very rare am I going to show much environment.
At 800 mil?
I'd have to be in Alaska.
You'd have to be real far
all
away
the time, right? Real far away.
I still think I would choose that. I still think I would choose that.
For me personally, just because I know my shooting style, and I guess my experience with majority of species, like I can't get within a 10 mil range. Like it'd be super tough.
No.
Action would be like crazy, not that I shoot a ton of action, but I think I'd be more frustrated with a 10 mil and probably give up than I would with the 800. 800, I'm getting shots. Like could be super tight headshots all the time, maybe, but I'm getting shots.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you can still shoot things really far away. I mean, getting small in frame with 800 millimeter, I think the biggest problem starts to become the atmosphere that you're shooting through, right?
Yes.
It's one thing to fill the frame with a lot of different birds, even medium-sized birds.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a decent range, even at 800 millimeter.
Yeah.
But as soon as you get up to, trying to include a lot more habitat, you're really far away from your subject at 800 millimeter, and you're shooting through a lot of atmosphere, and so you're going to start just struggling for quality and detail.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like the image I was showing earlier, how important is that when you're getting really small in frame? It's okay if things aren't tack sharp, but anyway, in the end, 800 millimeter is still going to be more versatile. Like the 10 mil thing is a blast. I do love it. But it is just so severely limiting. Like, I don't know the next time I'll pick that lens up. Now that I left the seabird colony, it'll be probably months before I touch it again and find something that cooperative.
I'm surprised. I really am, because I was like, he loves a challenge. The man loves a challenge. So I'm like, I bet you he's going to be like, you know what?
If we can modify the hypothetical, if everybody has to choose one of those two lenses, the vast majority are going 800, so I'll stand out with the 10. That's the case, right?
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah,
that's how I would do it, because I wouldn't want to be shooting the same as everybody else.
Exactly. Well, that's what I like. Like you like to be a little bit more unique, and you love a challenge. So I'm like, if you had the 800, you're getting shots, but are you going to be challenged with it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. No,
that's a good one.
I love to hear. I'm interested to hear what other people.
I'll be amazed if anybody actually picks 10. Let's put it that way. But let us know. Like, leave
people
it in the
are going to do it
comments.
just because.
Just 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's dive into our topic here. I think this is going to be an interesting one. And it's, do these high resolution, these high megapixel sensors matter? Are they necessary in today's age with wildlife photography? And I think so many people, the gut reaction is yes, right off the bat, right? And so before we start talking about this, we want to do a little bit of an experiment here. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 images here. These are from a wide variety of cameras. These are anywhere from between, so I have ranges here, and I'll be able to show this data in a little bit. Between the lowest resolution one here is between 2 and 4 megapixels. And we go all the way up to 40 plus megapixels here. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. Now, all right. This is out in 4K. So hopefully you're viewing this on a big screen. Let's go through it. They're in no particular order, right?
Make sure settings.
Yep, we're going to take the settings off there. But let's look at them full screen, right? And by the way, I'm viewing this on a 5K 27-inch monitor. So that's my benchmark here with what I'm looking at these on. And I got to say, guys, I can't tell, I can't tell which one of these are from low megapixel sensors versus high megapixel sensors. You know what I mean? And if you can, I think it's just a little bit more of a guess. And also, like, we're specifically asking people to do that. We're basically like saying, like, hey, nitpick this, like, see if you can notice it. If you're just sharing these photos and never mentioning anything, Like, who's going to know? And also, you're viewing it, if you're viewing this on a big screen in 4K, you're viewing it much larger and higher resolution than the vast majority of people are getting to see this. And I know there's other uses other than social media, and we'll get into that, right? But let's just talk about like the vast majority of people out there sharing photos. That's what they're doing. They're sharing it online.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And so...
And it's being viewed in many cases on like a little... Right?
On a phone.
Cell phone.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. You know?
So, tiny screen.
And so, can you tell? And so, you know, I'll leave them up here for a little bit, and if anybody can point out, you know, and we'll call them the number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 there.
8.
Can you tell, you know, like which one... Which one's the lower megapixel sensors? Which one's the higher ones? And let's start looking at some metadata here, and we'll kind of show all these off. But here's what we're looking at. You ready? Images from 2008, and so like we teased in the beginning, from a D300 all the way up to our current Z9s. Okay, so from 2008 all the way to a camera. When was the Z9 released? Oh gosh, I don't know. What 2020
was
maybe?
It 3 years ago?
2021 maybe?
Maybe that long? 5?
I don't know. Somewhere in there, right? So I don't know. I'll leave it to you. Like, let's hear a little bit from you, Brad. Like your take on this, because you've had an interesting experience with the D850 you used to shoot, and then I have some notes here that I kind of some points I want to bring up for the pros and cons on this too. But yeah, what's your take on this whole thing?
I think from the beginning of my like photography career, I've never been like, the big techie side of it, even though that's like my professional job as a tech. I've never really gotten into the whole tech aspect of it. Like it's very much like an art form for me, and I just love being out there. So I've never really been into the whole like gearhead thing. And I've always looked at, I guess for me, like megapixel wise, is like what's most convenient for me and what's the more standard thing that I'm doing. And what I mean by that is like, if I'm only posting online, putting it up on my website, I'm rarely printing. And again, printing, that's a whole controversial thing too. Yeah. Printing, a lot of times you can get away with way lower megapixel images. Like, what am I doing on my everyday shooting? And when I even got up to the D850, when I found out it was like, what was it, 43, 48? I think. Megapixel? 40, yeah. It's in the 40s anyways.
We don't know.
I was like, this is absurd. I'm like, I'm going to run out of hard drive space so fast. I had a dinosaur of a computer at the time. So like already, I think what I was shooting prior to that, I think it was like the D610 or something. So that was like a 23 megapixel. So like I was already finding things laggy then. I'm like, if I got to pull up, I remember I did one shoot, right? I went out and photographed, not that Red Fox, a different one. Did that whole outing, went to Cape St. Mary's, shot gannets, all in that location, got home with these like massive files, and I'm like, immediately went to medium, like, or whatever that lower, that
medium,
the
file.
smaller kind of, medium raw file form. I'm like, this is absurd. Like my computer's super slow. Now just like the amount of space that one outing kind of like ate up. I'm like, if I'm going to shoot this for multiple years, I'm going to go through so many hard drives. Things are just, I'm going to have to upgrade my computer. Yeah. Like there was just too many negatives around it to where I was like, okay, yeah, the Fox was there. I can zoom, in even further into the image and can see, but the overall image or composition I chose was not, in many cases, this full-on frame filling thing that I was like, I don't need to count the the hairs on this Fox. Like it didn't, it was sharp, and it's still sharp when I went to the medium format files. Like it didn't matter to me. I was never, I through my curve, never been like this pixel peeper kind of thing. I zoom in once on a shot, and I'm like, sharp, perfect, done. I don't ever zoom in again or play around with stuff. And I've never seen the need. I've never been in a scenario where, and I think a lot of, I hear people say about, but it gives me the ability to crop in. And I'm like, yeah, but that's like, to me, improve on your field craft. And I know there's all kinds of birds. There's kingfish. There's different ones that like, look, you're not getting close to, or it's super, super tough. You can't move in that little bit closer. So they're like the one-offs. But to me, if your field craft is up to snuff, you're going to be able to get yourself into positions where you're going to get frame-filling shots. Or you're going to get shots that then are going to be able to capture enough detail that you're going to be super satisfied with a lower-end megapixel camera. Like, I don't see a... to me, I just never ever seen a need for it.
Yeah, and so that's great. Like, let's go through some of the points. Like, I tried to write down a lot of the sort of arguments for it, right? So here, I'll go through the list and then we'll kind of talk about them, right? So here's the reasons most people argue in favor of high megapixel sensors. And it's so you can crop in, so you can stay a safe distance from wildlife that is dangerous, or do not disturb things that are more sensitive, for printing large, and so you can zoom in and see the details, right? So those are like the main positives there. And then the reasons against them usually are the large file sizes. You need more cards and storage, more hard drive space. It slows everything down. In some cases, they're not as good in lower light, so you might have more noise and more texture and stuff like that in your images if you're shooting in lower light, higher ISO settings. And then a lot of the times is lower resolution sensors can do like sometimes higher frame rates and stuff like that. And we're going to talk just about stills right now, and then we'll add a section. We'll talk a little bit about video in the end. So that's just the still side of things. So there you go. I feel like those are, at least from my memory, and I might be missing something. And if so, please let me know. Like, we want to hear arguments in favor and against and that sort of thing. But, let's start with the cropping one, right? The cropping one. So my argument is, if you can't tell that 2 to 4 megapixel image here, and you can't tell the difference between that on a large screen, you can still crop in. Even take a 24 megapixel image sensor, which is like kind of generally the lowest right now. That 20 to 24 are like the low, like they're the low end of resolution from sensors right now. You could crop that thing down to 2 to 4 megapixels and still have an image like this that you're sharing. Now, listen, guys, these are old, so please bear with the horrible quality of these photos up top here, because I would not take and share these anymore. But I still just wanted to show, like, these are between 2 and 4 megapixels, okay? And if you look at them like this, they look fine. I mean,
that kingfisher.
Yeah. Look at the detail, like crazy feather detail and everything like that. You can see like the eye detail. You can see like the reflection of the scene in his eyeball. You know what I mean? So like, don't you think any of these would do just fine sharing online, right? I think they would.
Oh,
and if we look at these, so these between 2 and 4 megapixel images are from my D4S and a D300. That D300, let me see, look, I just wrote it down, was released in 2007 and was a 12.3 megapixel sensor. The D4S was a 16 megapixel sensor, and I had cropped that image down quite a lot, to get this final image. All right, so let's move up to the next bump here. So now we're going to get into the 4 to 6 megapixel range here. And again, we have another D300 image and some more from the D4S. And so again, now I'll put some settings up there. And in fact, I'll switch it so you guys can see the camera it was taken with. And so now, again, these are massive crops. We're under 6 megapixel here. Okay, so that's out of 24. That's a quarter of the size of your image. That's a huge crop on a 24 megapixel image. Don't you think these would still work just fine by sharing online?
Oh yeah,
definitely. Like, they'll work just
and
fine.
You wouldn't notice any difference.
No, nobody would be able to tell, especially if you're just sharing. Now listen, if you're a photographer that is printing huge and cropping huge, okay, there's your argument in favor of it. But like, how many of you are really doing that? I can't imagine there's that many people that are printing huge, number one, and then also having to crop huge as well. Like, that's a small use case of people right there, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, how many, even that one person that's if they're the particular person, how much are they doing that throughout the year?
How many times? Exactly.
Like, how many times are they printing a massive, I guess the argument, well, if I've got to do it a handful of times, then it's worth it to have it. But
maybe.
Then I'm like, so then the rest of the year you're shooting with this crazy, you're just filling hard drives full of, you know what I mean, of useless data, basically.
And so my argument there is you can still crop it. right? Even with the smaller sensors from today, like you don't need 40, 50, 60 megapixels to be able to crop heavy. I think you can still get away with it just fine, right? So the stay a safe distance from wildlife that is dangerous, same argument on my side there. If you want to crop, go ahead, crop. Like, that's fine. You can still do it with a 24 megapixel sensor or 20 megapixel sensor. I'm hoping, and I think we're kind of proving that right here by showing these images that are, 6 megapixel and lower. And it's the same argument for like wildlife you don't want to disturb, right? You want to be further away, so you just shoot it more and crop more. You know what I mean? Like, there you go. You can still crop. Here's a set of images that are all between 6 and 8 megapixels. So we'll go through these while we talk some more. I don't see that argument.
Like, when I think about going back to, and I get the safety thing with wildlife, so I'm just trying to think of in my head in a scenario. So the animal is further away with ability to crop in, but if that animal is much further away, how much detail are you capturing anyways to then crop in? So it's like
background
rare
separation
scenario. That's what I mean. Like, there's so many like elements that would have to line up to be able to capture a really nice image with a bunch of details in it. You know what I mean? Like you said, a lot of space, a lot of separation, blah blah blah, light certain way. Like, then that's, if you don't have that, then it doesn't make any sense anyways. You're going to crop in on a big sensor onto an already image that's probably not that great to begin with in my book.
I mean, look at this. This is between, what did I say, 6 and 8 megapixels right here? Like, what more do you need? What more do you need? And listen, here, and I want to add this to it, right? I don't think there's a problem really with these high megapixel sensors. I'm shooting a D4S. It's I don't know, what is it? Do you know off the top of your head? They're 40 something megapixel, I think.
What, the Z9?
Or Z9, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Z9. Yeah, it's in the 40s.
Yeah, it's in the 40s,
it's
right?
So much high.
I know, it's how much we care about it, right? But I don't think it's not harming anything. It's not a problem. I just think there's so much focus on it as sort of a necessity or a requirement. And like, Canon got bashed hard when they came out with the R1, I think it was, and it was like a 20 megapixel sensor, and everybody, just the community, like lost their minds on it. And it's like, but that's plenty. It's fine. Like, you're all going to be okay. And there's like, here's the other thing, right? 24 megapixels or 20, let's go with that Canon R1 that's maybe still a modern camera, right? So 20 megapixels. 10 years ago, or maybe even a little bit more, that was not even on the realm of the highest megapixel sensor you could get, right? So what did every wildlife photographer do then? Did they just not bother? They did. They did a great job. There was professionals. There was people printing stuff. There was people getting stuff printed on billboards. There was all that stuff. So it still existed then, and it was fine. And so again, I'm not saying there's a harm in having the higher resolution sensor. It's just, it's not necessary, folks. I really don't believe it is. And so the next argument is printing large, right? And the argument I would always say was, I had a 12 megapixel image cropped down to roughly 6 to 8 that I had hanging on my wall, 20 inches by 30 inches, and it looked amazing, right? And so isn't that the other part of it, right? When you hang prints on a wall, or, literally even a billboard size thing, you have to stand back further to see the whole thing and appreciate it. You do. Right? And so you're not standing 4 feet away from it or having it like 3 feet in front of your face and looking at it and going, oh, it's not quite that sharp. It's a wall print. It's meant to be viewed as the whole size. And the bigger you go, the further away you have to be to actually see the whole thing. I just saw this morning, Brad, as I was scrolling through Instagram, somebody else was sharing a reel about the megapixel thing. And one of the comments, and I scrolled through it because I'm like, oh, how funny, like we're getting ready to talk about this.
Interested.
One of the comments was same thing about printing, right? You have to step back. And then somebody commented, well, that's not the case with fine art printing, which I'm assuming means like in that sort of like maybe like larger book size or like a 11 by 14, 16 by 20-ish size that you might really hold close. But again, if the print is small enough that you can hold it this close to see the whole thing, then it's a small enough print, you have enough resolution. So if you start going a little bit larger, then by default, it has to go further away if you want to see the whole thing. Like you can't,
Yeah, exactly.
you can't view a photo this big, this close to your head, like without doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's no different than like zooming in on the computer, at which point you're not seeing the entire photo. And
nope.
Okay, cool. So if you can print something really large and walk right up to it this close and then see all the detail without pixels, that's cool, but you're not seeing the photo anymore. You're just seeing a portion of it. And so other than saying that's cool, does that really serve the photographer? Does that serve the artist? Does that serve the final output? Again, I don't think so. Not in my experience.
And I would love to know the percentage of the photographing community out there that prints on a weekly basis. I'll even say maybe even monthly basis. I bet you there's like maybe 10% of all the photographers out there that print at that level that would say they need that megapixel because of that. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like, just doesn't make any sense.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, here we are, 8 to 12 megapixels right here. So we got D3S, D4S, and a D700, which is another really old camera there. And what's this? Yeah, this is 8 to 12 megapixel range. So still under, right? Like half the size of the 20 to 24 megapixel range sensors that are right now. And again, like these images, I'm telling you folks, like if you can tell, your eyes are better than me, you know? Like if you can tell that this image was shot and the final file size is between 8 and 12 megapixels versus 40 megapixels, good on you, really. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see the printing argument, and then the other thing is like I want to be able to zoom in and see the details. All right, I got no argument from you there, right? That's cool. It is neat. I won't disagree. It's neat to be able to go with a really high res sensor and zoom in and go, oh, look at that. But beyond going, oh, that's neat, doesn't serve any purpose for me. It does nothing for me.
No.
You know?
Well, and it doesn't serve any purpose for the viewing community unless it's a print. They can't. They're on their phone. They can't zoom in and see if there's any detail. You know, even if you have your website set up to show large, unless that person's viewing it on a large screen, a large monitor themselves.
And again, we are.
Then they're going to see some detail.
Right now.
Yeah, we are right now. Yeah. So, you know, it's, Yeah. Like I said, there is a moment where you're like, oh, wow, like I can zoom in. I can see like the iris detail and all this. There's a brief moment where it's cool. Yeah. But I think on a daily basis, to deal with those files, to deal with, you know, the lack of space you're going to have on your computers or laptops or whatever, that becomes the daunting part, you know, over not having, you know, like I'd much rather not have it and deal with it. Yeah. And again, so devil's advocate, right? Storage is cheap. There's an easy argument there. And it is relatively, right? Like spinning hard drives, if you want slow spinning hard drives, it's cheap, right? But it's not going to perform like SSDs are right now, you know? And like for me, speed matters a big deal. Like I don't have anything. All of my entire back catalog, everything is on SSDs now because I don't want to deal with a spinning hard drive. Plus, I drive around in a vehicle that bounces all the time and it'll probably just break them over time, right? So SSDs are safer for me. But flat out, they're just slow, right? So there is that argument. So sure, it's cheap, you can afford it, and you can just store all the stuff. But A, are you going through all those that often? Probably not. And then B, even if you are, like, then your trade-off is speed. So now it's kind of slow and like a little bit of a pain to go through that. But again, if it's a priority for you and you can afford it and just throw money at the problem, you can store all these files. It's not that big a deal. So it does really get back to, you know, is it like, what's the big downside of all these? It's not that big of a deal. I don't think it's that much of a problem. You and I are both shooting a Z9, right, with a high resolution sensor. We do shoot with they call it the high efficiency star setting, so we're not. It's more of a compressed, smaller file, so we can manage them a little bit better and deal with them. And so I think that helps out a lot. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, is it necessary? Is it required? No, and that's the argument I'm trying to make here. Yeah, and I think the other thing is too is because I find a lot of the companies now too, like it's almost like their focus is like push it more. Let's get up to 80. Let's get up to whatever. And it's like, why? What's going on? There's many more features within a camera that like you'd want to see improvements on or them focusing on. Like get us so we can do much better in low light situations.
Yeah.
Stop focusing on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that just like that just goes with our style of shooting, the light quality.
But who's going to argue with better quality and higher ISO? Nobody.
Right?
That's a win for everybody.
I'd rather see focus in that than, oh, wow, now I'm up to 80. Like why? Right?
I know. These images I'm going through right now are between 16 and 24 megapixels, right? So we're getting into that range now. If you have a 24 megapixel sensor and you're doing a little bit of cropping, everything's going to end up within this range right here, right? And again, like, I mean, come on. Like, what more do you need, right? And now I can start to zoom in on some of these sometimes, you know what I mean? And that sort of thing. So, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. I would much prefer the smaller file sizes, and I'd much prefer what you just said. Like, if they can be somewhat lower resolution and better in low light, better quality, give me more dynamic range. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Oh,
like that's a major gain for, I think, every wildlife photographer shooting in challenging lighting conditions, backlit stuff. Like that's a win.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at, like we've been shooting, both of us, for quite a while. So we've seen all different trends and things change. And like everything right now is trended into this like more dramatic light, more contrasty, like, like not just this like front lit standard stuff. Like everything's a little bit more different. So more dynamic range is needed. So it's like, why wouldn't we want companies to focus more in that realm than give us more megapixel? Like this doesn't make sense.
Maybe those things can go hand in hand. Again, right? Playing devil's advocate. Maybe you can get more dynamic range and the higher res sensor and everything like that. Sure, that's fine. But to me, like at this point, the gains for anything beyond what we're shooting right now are, I feel like the gains are already lost for me. I will say that. I'm a professional wildlife photographer. I've been making a living at this. I do get stuff printed and published. I had this. I love this one. I had a magazine cover for Living Bird, high quality magazine, chosen and printed from it was the Z9 pre-capture mode. So it's, I think it's like what is it? When you go 100 frames a second in that mode, it's somewhere in the, I want to say ballpark of like 16 megapixel range, or ballpark in there, 12 maybe. So the resolution is capped, and it was shot as a JPEG, right? So it wasn't even a RAW file. I had a cover printed on a high quality bird photography focused magazine, right? So if that doesn't say like you can cover most circumstances with far less than what we're shooting, I don't know what does, right? I used to be a wedding photographer. I had tons of clients order wall size prints all the time when I was shooting a 12 megapixel camera. Wall prints, like huge wall prints, double spread, 10 by 10 albums, totally fine, right? All this stuff was no problem when I was using 12 and 16 megapixel sensors in my cameras. So like I have done jobs where that did matter, where I was doing that for my job, was getting huge prints. I couldn't say to my client, oh, you want a 20 by 30? Sorry, no. You want a 24 by 36? No. I couldn't do that. I printed them and they looked amazing. Like I saw the prints, they looked great when you stood back and looked at it. Sure, if you went up a foot away and dug your eye in, were they tack sharp and full of detail? No. I'm not trying to argue that, but nobody did that. They hung it on their wall and they looked at it from a normal distance, right? So that's what they did. So here's the last batch of images. All of these are from the D850 and the Z9. These are all 24 megapixel plus, right? So I'll go through these and I'll share, from my opinion, the one thing that does matter with these high resolution sensors for me, and I guess let's caveat this whole thing with, this is just our opinion, obviously, and this is what works for us. But I do want to hear from the community. Like, give me a compelling argument for these high-res sensors. I personally haven't heard one yet.
No.
But this one does work for me, right? It's the 2.3 crop factor in 4K video on that Z9 that allows me to shoot a 2.3 crop factor and get still 120 frames a second, slow motion, 4K video out of it. So that only exists because of that high resolution sensor. It does not exist on my Z6 III, and so it doesn't exist on the lower ones. That's the one time it makes a difference for me. And it's nice. I do like being able to go, you know what? That thing is far away. I want to shoot some really good 4K video of it, slow motion. I hit a button and it punches right in. 2.3 crop factor. So when I have my 400-2.8 with the built-in teleconverter flipped in and I punch in, I'm ending up around 1288 millimeter equivalent, being able to shoot 4K 120 video. That's a nice feature. That's a bonus, right? But I'm not video first. It's not my major focus. And I did just fine before that existed, shooting video like with the regular frame. So if that didn't exist, I think I'd be okay, right?
Well, and I guess that goes back to like my point too, is like, I know you do a bit more video now than you had recent, but like, how often are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like, that's this one-off kind of like thing that you do every so often, you know, compared to how much you actually shoot stills or you actually shoot, you know, that I don't know that you would use it that often.
I mean, I use it all the time. There's a huge catalog of video clips sitting here. I rarely share them though.
But that's what I'm saying. As of, but that's what I'm saying. As of recent, but I think, you know what I mean? Like, it's not your daily thing. That's not what you're going after and not what you're shooting all the time, right?
So let's just do this real quick. I mean, you guys know which images are which, right? Oops. But, you know, here's a mix on screen of, what was it? 32 to 47 megapixel range, or that 2 to 4 range, right? They're all on the screen at the same time. Like, there you go. And this is the size people are viewing it on their phones, on Instagram, you know? Like, let me take some of these out of here so they actually get a little bit bigger, right? So you guys can kind of compare them a little bit more. But again, just comparing these images at these sizes with the lower resolution stuff, it's just, I find it kind of amusing how I don't think many people can like really tell the difference between a lot of this stuff, other than you can tell my old photos are really bad quality because of that, not quality, but just bad photos. No. Because I wasn't a good photographer then.
Light and composition.
Yeah, exactly.
But right? I mean, even for competitions, like I just thought about like even competition stuff. I mean, I think a lot of them, like they request like that the file be at least 2,000 pixels on the long end. So I mean, I think even that's still a whatever file. Like, that's still a small.
Yeah, for their.
You know what I mean?
If you get chosen, they want to be able to print it and stuff like that, right? It's still like well under what any of these cameras are doing right now. So
exactly.
Let us know in the arguments. I do truly have an open mind about it. Obviously, I have an opinion on it. And Brad and I both have shared, you know, our strong opinion that it's not necessary. Give me a reason. Change my mind. I'm willing to be open and hear valid arguments for it, but like I just, you know, I think the whole, like the ones that we've talked about, they don't do it for me, you know?
No.
Yeah. All right. So next up, let's see, what do we got? We got our man, we got a big show, but we're moving right along here, and we're gonna pick our Wildlife Photo Chat Challenge choices again, our picks from this past episode that we had low-key challenge yet again. Sorry for that mistake, but hey, it's fun. We'll get to pick another one out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
We're just showcasing people's work.
Totally, yeah. I was just going to say, so thanks, everybody who's participating. It was a hard choice. There's a lot of great images here. There really are, you know? There's a ton of great low-key images here, so great job, everybody. There you can see where we had high-key, but here's some older ones that were low-key as well. But, yeah, there's some wonderful stuff mixed in there. So we'll start with you, Brad. You chose.
Yeah, so something about this image just to me just like is almost like the epitome of like what we were talking about, because it's, and especially such a great subject. It's like white bird, dark background, like perfect. And this person didn't, you know, like didn't blow out any of the highlights, didn't blow anything. What was the name?
Tashwita Wildlife.
Tashwita Wildlife, yeah. So great job at like not blowing any of the whites, which is super, super tough in those lighting scenarios. But yeah, just like a perfect setup for this kind of thing, you know? And it really highlights, I just love like the all the feathers sticking off on the
Yeah.
front of the bird there. So it's really, really great job.
I totally agree, and I want
Really nicely done.
to also point out, and I think it was something we mentioned in that episode, which was, where did we talk about low key? Let me see. See, look, we got notes. We're getting more organized now. It was episode 4 where we talked about the custom Nikon camera settings. So that episode where we talked about this, we talked about with this heavy side lighting. That's where it comes in a lot, right? And so you can see the photographer's got the hard right coming in, but the bird's facing into the light. And that's the important thing, right? Like if that bird was facing the other way,
definitely
it still works, but doesn't work the same. It doesn't work as good.
No.
Like you see all the sort of shadowy blue side there. That would have been the side of the bird's face, which wouldn't have worked anywhere near as well, in my opinion, as when the bird's looking into the sun like this, getting that. And I love the roundness that comes with it. That shape and dimension you get on the bird is so nice. Yeah. So I really dig it.
I agree.
Great shot.
Yeah, really nice.
Nice choice, Brad. So I chose one from Prashant. Sorry on the last name. Let's see. Prashant Garpru, I guess.
Garpru, yeah.
And Prashant, I actually had the privilege of working with Prashant back in Hilton Head a few years ago. He joined me on a workshop there, which was really cool. And talk about, like, just what we were talking about in the last one, shape. Oh, man, the shape of the wings on this, the symmetry there. Yeah. That head in, coming in on the sandal. And I got to add the really funny leg position. Like, the legs look so silly there. It's like relatively really graceful bird, and the wings look all angelic and beautiful. And then you got, like, those silly chicken legs, long chicken legs hanging down there. But done in soft light here, too. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate that. Just, an image like this. And he kept... This one's an interesting edit, too. It's like... the focus of this is the wings, and I think that's the right call, right? Like, Prashant, you didn't go really light with the bird's head and body and stuff like that. Like, those are still a little bit darker there. But just like you were talking about with the previous image, well exposed, absolute beautiful detail in those brighter parts of the wing. And I think going with that darker exposure, it highlighted that, right? Imagine the same image exposed brighter, where we can see more detail on the bird, we can see the detail in the background. It doesn't become about that wing position and that shape anymore, right?
No.
Like,
I agree.
Not that we don't see it, but it's not the focus of it. This, to me, the subject of this photo is that wing, like those wings and their position there.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it changes, like, the intent or the meaning of a photo. And it's a really, really good job. Really well done.
Yeah, because, I mean, even in this, like, the head gets lost in the body anyways. I mean, with that front-on look and a smaller kind of in-frame-ish kind of shot, like you say, it's all about that wing positioning. But I do also love that little heart shape.
Yeah, the red
plumage makes. That's cool. I just noticed that.
That's
really
nice as
cool.
well.
Yeah.
So
great image.
Great job, both of you. Thanks everybody for submitting photos. And it's nice. Like, head on over to we got the URL now, wildlifephotochatvideo.com. That's it. Head on over to there, and you guys can see some of the other stuff that people are submitting, and check out some of these great photos, and check out some. Maybe you'll find some other photographers to follow, which is good. So
definitely,
let's announce our challenge for next. An upcoming episode. We're just going to keep saying upcoming episode because of the way we record everything. It's not always going to be the next, So we're going to do something a little different for this one. We're going to go, give us your frame fillers. Give us your super clean portraits. Let's see your super tight frame filling, smooth background, minimalist, tight
48
detailed portrait.
megapixel.
Give us all the megapixels on that, right? Exactly. Yeah, we thought this would be kind of like a fun one to pick after what we just discussed.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can make it, because you got these high-res sensors, half of you. You can make it by cropping in like crazy,
Exactly, yeah.
But I would argue you can do it from the sensors that are lower as well, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so it's certainly not my... like the direction of my photography and my favorite taste, but I do love a really good portrait, and so we can certainly appreciate them, and so we figured let's see some, we'll pick some out of that. So
definitely look forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be that. Anything else? Look at that. That was a lot of stuff we just did in under an hour and a half, dude.
Oh, did I mention about the Instagram thing? I didn't.
Oh no, you didn't. Yeah, let's touch on
that in.
Yeah, throw it in there right now.
So I had this really weird, I got excited at first because I was like, oh my God, like, so it seemed like my account was like blowing up, and I was getting like a bunch of followers. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is amazing. So I was having this brief moment of excitement until I kind of really looked at and saw who was following. I'm like, these seem like empty bot. And every time I would click on one, like there was no profile picture, and then it was like the account had no followers and it had no posts. I'm like, oh no. And I mean, dude, it was like I'd refresh, half hour later, 200 more followers, half an hour later, that 400 more. Like, it was just like streaming in. So I started just kind of doing a little bit of digging. I'm like, okay, so what is this? Like, is this going to cause an issue? Like, am I going to, probably get hacked? I'm going to lose my account. Like, I started kind of just panicking a little bit. So then when I looked into it, it appeared that other photographers that have had the same scenario have seen that Instagram may interpret your account getting bombarded like that as if something like you had paid for followers. So you're just trying to increase, so they may ban you for a little bit or lock up your account.
Oh boy.
So the one workaround that I did figure out, there was a little bit of fooling around. So I don't know about you, but I know, like, so Instagram has a bunch of different accounts you can have, like business, personal, creator account. So because my account was set to creator account, so I have access to all the different kind of like insights and different, all the statistics.
Yeah.
I had to switch from a creator account back to a private or a personal account. Then from a personal account, I could set my account to private.
Oh,
so
creator
by setting
accounts
it to
can't be private.
Can't be private. You've got to switch back to a personal and then switch to a private account. And the reason I was doing a private account is then now that just meant that anyone that follows me can see my content, can follow me, blah, blah, blah. By setting it private, nothing. But then my worry became, okay, well, how am I going to reach new people? Because a lot of people, I think, if they see an image and they see your account as private, they may be like, this person's probably not even going to accept me as a follower. Or like, I just figured it was going to kind of maybe slow growth. So I first initially left it for like half an hour, and I'm like, okay, I'll switch it back now. So I just switched it back to public and left it as a personal account. Dude, within like 2 minutes,
really
bombarded again. I'm like, oh.
So let me ask you this, Brad. When you were private, were you getting requests the whole time?
Nope, nothing.
Really?
Stopped automatic. Yep, not even one request.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, really weird.
That is
right?
weird.
So yeah, so I guess by making it private, maybe it hid it somehow from whatever tool or algorithm or whatever was happening. So then I said, okay, forget it. I'll leave it till the next morning, which I had a scheduled post set up. And I'm like, I'll see. Once that scheduled post comes out, I'm going to set everything back. I'm going to go right even back to a creator account. And at that point, you know what? Like, I have very little patience with this stuff because I'm always said, if my account ever got hacked,
you're done,
or something happened where I lost them, I'm done. Like, it just takes so long to build up a following, to get your work out there, and to like see it potentially crumble so quick and then just be like, oh, I got to start from scratch. I don't think I'd have the gusto or motivation to. But anyways, thankfully, by the next morning, back to creator account, back to public, everything is stopped.
Okay,
and
cool.
this has been a few days ago now, so
I
haven't seen any. Yeah, it's been a couple days, so I haven't seen any like big uptick or anything like that. Just back to the usual followers and
so I guess
slow growth.
I just have one more question about it. So how much did you have to pay for those followers?
I can't disclose that amount right now.
No, I'm kidding, obviously.
Yeah.
What a weird thing. Yeah.
Very strange. And it's just like I said, it's one of these, I've heard of other photographers, like, people here on the island, like landscape photographers, and like they've had their accounts hacked and lost everything and had to restart and get their followers, start back up. And it's just like, it's so unfortunate. I mean, we all know we're all in that same boat now. Algorithm is not great. Takes forever to get anything out. People are struggling to get any followers. So, once you've been at it for years and years, and I feel like, I think I'm up to 30,000 now, thanks to all the bots.
You got a nice bump.
I think it's, it's taken a while to get here, so I'd hate to kind of have to lose it all.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah, it'd be hard to, But anyways, I just wanted to put it out there because if anyone else experiences that, that was my seemed like a quick, easy fix, and
Private
I
for a
just had to
day.
do it for like private for a day, and seemed to kind of
There you go.
they moved on to somebody else.
I guess so.
hopefully, not
Yeah.
me anymore.
The whole thing is so bizarre with that stuff. Yeah.
It's
Why it even
such a
exists in the
pain,
first place, I don't understand, but
Yeah.
must be some reason.
So,
All right, cool.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
I think that's an episode, and I'm going to wrap it up because it
Yeah.
is hot. I cannot wait to put these shades down, but I didn't want to have it all
Nice.
dark in
Yeah.
here. Plus, everybody, look at my
I
new
hear ya.
setup. Ooh, got a nice
Right?
background. Got my lenses
Showcasing the
out. Looking like a
lenses.
photographer here. Yeah. Yeah. And then hopefully a
Yeah.
lot of times we'll have some
Very
cool
nice.
views out the windows as well. So,
yeah, for sure.
thanks so much, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Comment like crazy. Help us out.
Mm-hmm.
That helps, share it with
Definitely.
your friends and fellow photographers. Like we said in the beginning,
sure.
we really do want to grow this. We're trying to put out a lot
Yeah.
of helpful stuff. Some of our topics coming up are going to be more, techniques and like doing some how we shoot stuff and how we approach stuff.
Yep.
We'll mix in some gear stuff for sure. We're going to talk like, concepts. We might even do some things on like lighting and stuff like that. So there's going to be it's going to be a great place to learn. Plus, you get to just catch up with us, hang out with us for a little bit. Hopefully, you like us
Definitely.
enough to keep coming back. And we're enjoying the show. We're really loving doing it.
We
So
are
thanks, everybody,
loving
for
it.
watching.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
we'll see you guys next week.
Perfect. Take care, everyone.